guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm feeling a little bit better than I was last time. Still feeling a little bit groggy, but if you saw my last video I was just getting sicker and sicker by the minute. Oh. But don't hold out any hope because I'm still not feeling 100%. Today I'm going to be giving the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill, the Master Collection, a good old go. I really want to put this to the test. I know that there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of drama around Jaclyn Hill and Morphe at the moment. I've actually got the vault sitting down to the left of me here. I still haven't played around with it yet. Mine might be a dud as well, I'm not too sure. I kind of wanted to let that storm go elsewhere before I started playing with that, because I didn't really want to jump on the bandwagon of all the gossip and stuff. I just want to play with it and see how I feel about it and just be creative with it without being influenced by drama, if that makes any sense. So there's a little backstory behind this. I've actually already played around with these brushes. I have washed them and they are all beautifully clean again. But I did a video on this already about 2 weeks ago and I went to go edit it. I just hated the video. I was supposed to be going out that evening, so I was kind of rushing it a little bit. I've decided to film it again, but I don't see that as a negative because I know how I feel about them and they've had a good wash, so also I can see what it's like after being washed. So I feel like I've come back with better knowledge and I'm going to be more prepared with this video. So I'll be looking down here to my right because I have a lot of information on my laptop here, so if I keep looking down it's because I'm looking at the facts. So the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Master Collection, it is £160. I forgot I paid that much for it, if I'm going to be honest, because I ordered it like a month ago, filmed it a couple of weeks ago, and now here we are. Yeah, £160 is a lot of money for brushes. You get 24 brushes, 8 synthetic and 6 natural. I'll be honest, I didn't actually think to check if it was natural or synthetic bristles in the brushes. I probably should have done, because if I knew that 16 of them were natural and only 8 were synthetic, I probably would have just given this a miss. I don't know how I feel about natural bristles over synthetic. I don't know much about it. I know that it probably isn't the most humane thing, but I don't know how they collect that hair. You know, if it's the same as shaving a sheep like you do in summer, I don't see the harm behind using natural bristles. However, if they are being like ripped out of the body and it's causing pain and inflicting pain to the animal, then of course I'm totally against that. Why would you even want that in your makeup product? I don't know enough information about how Morphe source their natural bristles, so I'm not going to make assumptions, but I'm in my mind hoping that it's the most humane way possible of gathering that hair, and it is just a simple matter of just shaving it off rather than pulling it off, or kind of, you see all these nasty things, and I hope it's not. In this collection there are 10 face brushes and 14 eye brushes, which I think is a very good kind of balance between brushes. So disadvantages are there are only one flat shader brush, and this is a really, really tiny flat shader brush. I don't know if you can see it from this far back, but there's only one in the entire collection, and to say that there's 14 eye brushes, I think that this was a very bad move on her part, in my personal opinion. I mean, we have 9 blending brushes. Now, this isn't including pencil brushes or small detail brushes. These are just blending brushes. And whilst I think that blending brushes are an absolute essential in any brush kit, I do think she might have gone a bit over the top with these. But of course that's just my personal opinion. If I just take away the few that I think are necessary, we're then left with 4 blending brushes, which I think look extremely similar. They're not the same. They're not the same, and I will give her that. They're not the same. They all do different things. I think she could have literally just taken one away and we could have sacrificed this for an eyebrow brush or an eyeliner brush, which leads me on to my next disadvantage, which is kind of like a 2-in-1, I guess. There's no eyebrow brush and there's no eyeliner brush. For me, if you're going to call this a master collection, if this is a master collection, I'm not leaving the house without my brows. I know you could have the argument of why not use a brow pencil, but sometimes a girl wants to use a pomade. Even if there was one of these and no eyeliner brush, I could forgive that, because then you could sort of use it as an eyebrow and an eyeliner brush. But there's nothing in the collection like this, and that bothers me. I think if you've got 4 brushes that look very similar and nothing to do your brows or eyeliner with, I'm finding it difficult to call it a master collection, you know? My last 2 disadvantages of this collection is that a majority of them are natural. Like I said, I don't know how this natural hair is sourced. It could be in a very humane way, in which case there probably isn't a problem with it. But I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable using a natural haired bristle brush and not knowing how that natural hair is sourced. Which kind of leads on to my last point of the natural bristle haired brushes actually shed way more than the synthetic do. I have washed these brushes and I have used them more than once now, and I have a very good feel for them, and they do shed. Not an extreme amount to having it all over your face or anything like that, but the natural haired brushes do shed, and this one smells like whatever animal it came from, and I'm scared it's mink, because I don't know if a goat smells like this. Like, I don't know if this is actually goat hair. It doesn't say what hair it is that's natural, which bothers me quite a bit. It just smells a little bit like a pet shop, and I've washed this. I don't know how I feel about that. The advantages, of course, are that they are beautiful. I know that's probably a vain thing to say, but this brush set, the box, everything is absolutely beautiful. The brush box itself is another advantage. It can just lay flat with all your brushes in, and when you're done, snap it back up. It's hard, it's durable, your brushes are safe in here, and it's bloody beautiful. And it's covered in glitter. Another advantage is they do maintain their shape after washing them. Sometimes even with a brush guard, some brushes do not maintain their shape at all. These ones do, which is a good thing to know. And the last advantage I'm going to say for this before we crack on with this video is that they're very versatile. They work well for when I want to do my makeup for work, and they work well for when I want to do my makeup for going out. They're very versatile in their use. You can use them for their simplicity and you can use them for their complexity, if that makes any sense. There's a very good blend of brushes here that makes them very versatile in how you want to use them, so I do appreciate that. There's no basicness about them, but you can use them in a basic way. I don't know, I just really like the fact that they're very versatile. Okay, so all that being said, I've rambled on for far too long about these brushes. Let's just get on and play with them. So for primer, I'm going to use the MUA Pro Base Softening Facial Oil Stick for primer. I hauled this in my massive drugstore haul last Saturday, I think that went up, so I will link that in the eye above so you can go see that. I've got some really cool makeup bits actually. And I'm going to use the JH03 brush, which is the foundation brush, and just kind of pat this in more than anything, just so it's all even around my face. I have moisturised as well, but I moisturised about half an hour ago, so if I looked a bit dewy, it's because I used a very rich moisturiser. For foundation, I'm going to go into the Maybelline Dream Satin Liquid in the shade Ivory. I'm just going to pump about 2 pumps on the back of my hands. This does oxidise a little bit on me, so hopefully I won't need to use anything else with it. This brush is a synthetic brush. It's very soft and applies the product very well. I also do prefer something a little bit more denser than this, but this has got a very good density. It's just a little bit too loose for my liking. I do prefer something a little bit kind of more dense, just to kind of really pack on that pigment of the foundation. But this does lay down the product really well and really give a nice finish. I'm then going to do my brows off camera really quickly with my Colourpop Taupe pomade and my Morphe M158 brush, just really quickly off camera, just because we haven't got a brush for that, Jaclyn. We haven't got a brush for my brows. Because we have the brushes for it, I'm going to tidy up my brows with the JH43, which is kind of like a little stubby nubby brush, which is like a flat top shader? Is this like a flat, I don't know what this is. It's like a flat top eye brush that you can either use on your lower lash line or you can clean up your brows, which is what I'm going to use it for today. I'm going to go in with the Barry M All Night Long Full Coverage Concealer to do that. And then kind of just to perfect around the areas, because I kind of look like I've got a massive white streak through my brows, I'm taking the JH08 and then just kind of like buffing out the edges of that concealer. I'm not touching anywhere near where I've cleaned up the brows, I'm just finessing the edges a little bit. I'm especially focusing my attention on the top half of the brow. I don't want there to look like I've got a white strip on top of my brows. The bottom half I'm going to put eyeshadow on anyway. Okay, so while I'm here with this JH08, she said it was great for contour, so I'm going to take the Model & Co contour stick and just cream contour a little bit. Not too much, I'm terrible at cream contouring. Is that even? Please tell me that's even. Okay, so here goes nothing. Like I said, I am terrible at cream contouring, so this could go very badly. I'd say for nose contouring this brush is brilliant because it's just like the right size to really tuck into your nose and just buff everything out really naturally. I never nose contour at all. I've just realised there's not really a concealer brush either. I mean, you could use this JH08 again. I don't really use brushes for concealer anyway, to be honest, but I'm just going to put some on my inner corners only because I feel like the coverage of this foundation is quite good. And I don't want it to be too heavy, to be honest. Okay, so now we're looking like a crazy person. Back in with the JH08, and I'm just going to use sweeping and patting motions, just pat into that concealer. Like I said, there's not really a concealing brush. Usually they're kind of really small and nubby, but there isn't one in this collection, which isn't really a problem, like I said, because I think the majority of us tend to use sponges anyway when it comes to concealer. But if you like a concealing brush, sorry girl, it's not really here. I really need to get the next shade up in this concealer. I forgot how pale it is. Okay, so being quite swift, I'm going to go into the Too Faced Peach Perfect Loose Powder even, and I'm going to go into the JH07, and I'm going to kind of just quickly really set under the eyes. I'm using a peach powder just because that concealer was far too light for my under eyes. I've got to say the JH07 is really good for the under eyes because it like fits perfectly. I don't know if you can just about see that. I might have to bring you a bit closer. See, that's better. I should have put you in closer earlier. Now you can actually see my face. But I was just saying you can actually fit it under the eyes and really swoop powder underneath the eyes. So I really like this brush for the eye area. I'm really like getting under there and just setting it nicely. And it also fits nicely around like smile lines, places like that. It's just like a nice shaped brush for setting, especially with loose powder. We have got a Mahusive powder brush in this collection, and this is the JH01 brush. Absolutely huge, literally the size of my face. I'm going to go into the Bourjois Healthy Mix Pressed Powder and just kind of lightly set my face. I've kind of got a very natural dew going on from that primer, which is really nice. First time I've tried that primer, so I'm really liking it so far. This brush is beautiful. I just want to say that right now. It's a little bit bigger than I usually go for, but it's so soft. Nothing is spiky in this brush at all. Like, I'm really like pushing at my face and I can't feel a single spiky bristle. And it's a really good all over the face brush, especially when you're like me and you don't want to use an excess in powder. You can literally just like tap all over the face. I'm going to use the JH05 as a contour brush. I really like the domeness of it, and I feel like this could be a good bronzer brush. Like, it could be a very good contour but then really like swell it out for a bit of a bronzer. I'm going to use it as a contour brush today. I'm going to go into the Kevyn Aucoin, what is this? The Sculpting Powder in Light. I'm not going to add too much to my face, I just want to show you how this brush works. But it's really soft. And like I said, you can easily go a bit crazy and just kind of like work your way up with a bronzer rather than a contour shade, but it's equally quite sort of domed and precise enough to use it to contour brush as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the brush that I don't really like that much. I have the Morphe black handled sort of style of this. So this isn't a brush she's created herself, this is just a very random Morphe selection one. It's useful for one thing, and that's going into loose powder and doing that. Literally I can't think of another use for this. Like, this is the only thing I use it for. And how extra would you have to be? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm doing it right now, but how extra would you have to be to use this on a daily basis? Literally, this is the only use for it, but because I want to display how the brushes work, I will use it this one occasion, but I don't agree with it. I don't think it's needed. I think you can use a sponge and that'll be absolutely fine as well. This is the JH02, an equivalent for MAC, I believe. I don't know what MAC brush it is, but I will pop it up on the screen right here for you right now. That is a synthetic bristle brush, I believe. I don't think this brush is anything special, but Jaclyn seems to rave over this styled brush, so fair enough. I'm going to go into the H&M bronzer in Sheer Tan and just go to town. And for blush, we're going to go into the Rimmel Maxi Blush. I haven't tried these out yet. This is in 006 Exposed. Again, I hauled this in my massive Superdrug haul. I'm going to go into the brush JH04, which is this beautiful synthetic blush brush. It's angled. I love angled brushes, especially for contour or bronzer as well, actually, because I feel like it sculpts my cheek quite nicely. And then just to be really extra, because we need to be in this video, obviously, I'm going to go into the Karl Lagerfeld. I don't know what shade this is in, but it's just Karl Lagerfeld's like blush topper. It literally says nothing other than made in China on the back, so I don't know what to say to you guys. Sorry. And then I'm going to go into the JH06, which is like a very sort of light bristled blush brush, and I'm literally just going to pop this on the apples of my cheeks. Okay, so my camera just died. I applied the blush topper, and this blush brush is beautiful. I forgot what I said about it already, but I love it. It's beautiful. Moving on. I'm finally using the highlighter brush, the JH09. I'm going to go into the Revolution Soft palette, and I'm going to go into this shade here. I don't usually use this type of highlighting brush at all. I do prefer like a fan brush, or I don't know, I just don't really go for this sort of loose highlighting brush, but it's growing on me more as I use it, so I don't mind it. It doesn't offend me. I'm just going to go into that like real shocking pearl shade as well and just put that on the high points. Okay, so moving on to eyes, I obviously have a lot of eye brushes to play around with. I also bought the 39A Dare to Create palette off of Morphe. I haven't actually played with this palette yet, but I thought now would be the perfect opportunity. I haven't touched it. It is beautiful. Morphe bought this back as a permanent palette because it was just like a limited edition thing, I think, and then everyone loved it so much that they bought it back. It has like names, but it's on like an acetate sheet, so what I might do is just point to the colours that I'm using and then just kind of like apply it to my eyes. The first brush I want to go in with is the JH30. As a big fluffy blending brush, this brush is perfection to me. I just think it's so soft, it fits the crease perfectly, but it's not too tight. It's not too big and fluffy, but it's just fluffy enough just to lay down that first transition shade. I love this. This would be my idea of perfection when it comes to a transitional fluffy blending brush. Perfection. I'm then going to go into the JH32, which is one of the 4 white blending brushes, and just kind of deepen up this crease a little bit. I'm going to take the JH31, which is a bit more of a looser, fluffier brush, the same length as the previous one. And I'm just going to kind of blend out that colour I put down earlier. Going into the JH33, I'm going to take a deeper shade right here and just try to create a bit of a halo eye. And then with the JH35, I'm going to go into a shade that's slightly lighter than that one I put down and just kind of go around the edges of that, just to sort of blend it out. I'm going to take this clean JH34 brush, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit messy in my outer corners, and a trick I like to do is just basically take a loose powder, or the loose powder I was using on my face earlier. I know this is peachy, but it doesn't really matter, and kind of just clean up that eye area by just going over the shadows ever so slightly with the powder and just kind of just toning it down a little bit. Sometimes doing just what I'm doing here, taking a clean brush with no extra pigment on it and just adding some sort of translucent type of powder can really just mesh the colours together and just make everything a little bit more seamless and just, you know, a little bit more smoky, a little bit more smooth. It's just kind of one of my little tips I like to do when a look can start looking a bit out of control. I'm going to take this JH36, which is a very unique blending brush. I'm going to go into that shade I used earlier for my lid, and I'm going to smoke it quite low on the lower lash line. I'm then going to take the smaller version of the JH36, which is the JH37, it's kind of exactly the same but smaller, and go into that deep dark shade I put on my inner and outer corners, and kind of just run this as close to my lower lash line as possible. Going into the JH40, I really love this brush. It's very unique and I don't own anything quite like this. I own bigger versions of this, but it's just like the perfect size for inner and outer corners for halo eyes, I feel. So I'm going to go into the darkest shade that's practically black, but it's not. It's just like this one here. Going into the JH34, I'm going to go back into the shade next to it just to tone the edges around. I'm then going to go into the JH41, which is the only flat shader brush in here, apart from this tiny baby thing, which I wouldn't really class as a flat shader brush, but this is the only one, so we're going to go into this dark chocolatey glittery shade. It just mildly offends me that this is the only packing brush in the whole set. Taking the JH42, which is this little baby shader brush that I was talking about, I'm going to go into this beautiful gold shade right here. It just looks really pretty. And I want to plop this right in the centre. I do like that brush, I'm just not over the fact that there's not another good shader brush. I just can't help feeling that way. And the final two brushes that I haven't used are the two pencil brushes. So I've got the JH38 and the JH39. So I think I'm going to use the tiny one for the inner corner and then the big one for the brow bone, because that's all we got left. Going into my Zoeva palette, I'm going to take this one here on the JH39. And then taking that stark white highlight, I'm trying to go over the top of that. And then finally taking the JH38, I'm going to go into this shade here and kind of just mix it in with the stark white and apply it on my brow bone. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply some mascara and my Colourpop 0.0 lipstick off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, and we are done. I don't know if I'm feeling very Vogue, very kind of like black glam, you know, dark, autumny, or I'm feeling like Alice Cooper. I'm not quite sure, but I'm kind of digging it. So what do I think of the Master Brush Collection by Jaclyn and Morphe? I don't think it's a necessity at all. I think it's a beautiful addition to a makeup collector's collection. I love it. I don't regret that I bought it at all. However, it is £160. Think about that, guys. It's very, very expensive. There are definitely alternatives if you don't want to spend that money and you don't need all of these brushes. There's really good ones on the high street. You've got Real Techniques who love to do very basic collections if you just need something basic. Zoeva do other brushes that are beautiful, and so does Spectrum. And even Morphe do other brushes that are very affordable. So don't feel like you have to spend £160 just to have good brushes. Obviously, I think there are a few brushes missing from this collection for it to be a master collection, but that's just my personal opinion, you know. It wouldn't be my master collection per se, but it is a very, very good brush set. If you are looking for something a bit more meaty in a brush collection and you do want an extensive range of brushes, there is one brush collection that I can recommend and I have got myself, and it's the Zoeva Luxe Complete Brush Set. It retails for £105. It too is made of synthetic and natural brushes. It's got 4 synthetic and 11 natural brushes. It's made of goat hair and I think it is sustainably sourced. It does say that in some of the descriptions, so don't hold me to it, but I believe it is sustainably sourced. You get 5 face brushes and 10 eye brushes in that collection. Like I said, it retails for £105. You also get like a faux leather clutch, which I use for going out clubbing all the time because it's just black and it's perfect and it's the right size. Yeah, okay, £105 is also very, very bloody expensive, but it's not as expensive as £160, that's for certain. There's a lot of brushes that I think the average person probably wouldn't need in this brush collection. I will leave that link to the Zoeva brush set down below, as well as some other links to other brush sets that I think are good, and of course I will link this down below as well so that you can get it if you want it. When it comes down to it, would I recommend this brush set to you? I don't think I would, and that's because you don't need it. It's not an essential. Like I said, you can get your makeup done without this brush set. You can get your makeup done effectively with like 5 brushes. Like literally you could get your whole face done with 5 brushes. That sounds like a challenge. That's where I sit. You won't be disappointed if you do buy it, but I'm not going to recommend it to you because you don't need it. And that is it, you guys. Sorry that it's been such a long one today, but I kind of wanted to really get in depth with some of these brushes and just kind of show you how they perform properly. If you have enjoyed it, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up, because then it lets me know that you enjoy these sorts of videos. I also wanted to just mention I really, really liked this palette. Like, I didn't even mention that. I really, really like this palette. It's my first impressions. I really want to play around with other colour groups in here. So yeah, if you want to see me play around with this again, just hit the thumbs up as well and I will do that. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button down below. It is free, so please hit it if you want to see other videos from me. Hit the bell for videos every Wednesday and Saturday. I try to upload on those days. We don't know when I upload. That's just a surprise. But you know, this girl works all week. She tries her best, you know. Thank you guys once again for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! Of this brush. I actually got the Volt. Ooh. Christ alive, I can't speak. There's a bloody fruit fly in here and it's flying around. I swear it's been flying around for days and I can't catch it, and then every time I go to catch it I lose it, and then it flies past me at the most inconvenient times, such as this. Oh god, this concealer's really white. That fly was trying to get out my peach powder and it can bloody sod off. This is expensive. I feel like the faster you go, the more effect it has. Save me, save me. Call 911, it's an emergency. Okay, okay, okay. I can't even speak. Get to the point, Megan, get to the point.